Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Hey everybody, welcome to Paranormal Karen. Talk about things working out as they should. I'll tell you that in a second. I'm just going to tell you all. I think as it stands, I will still be in Miami in May and May 15th and 16th. Also, I think the weekend before, I am at Mohegan Sun in Pennsylvania with Sonia King, the animal communicator. I hope. So let me tell you all a couple things. First of all, this never happens. I screwed up the way I put up my podcasts, and you guys know I always go 2 months ahead. This week there was a hole, and I was sort of chatting with Jessa on Facebook, or we were doing something, and so I'm so excited that today this podcast is just a few days out, and I got Jessa here. We're going to talk about what's going on. What is the collapse, as you call it?
Apocalypse. Yes,
the
hello,
apocalypse
welcome.
Collapse. And also go back and listen to her podcast called The Tower. I loved it today.
Thank you.
And I found it really inspiring. And I'll tell you that in a second. And also, I know some of your dates are closed down because Corona stuff. But yeah, I just worked with you in Phoenix, which was the greatest event, the greatest people, and I loved you. I cannot wait to see your show. It's going to Comedy Central, right?
No, we don't know where it's going. We haven't sold it yet. No, we're going to pitch it. I'm being maybe nobody. I might just make it myself, but yeah, so it's an hour that was going to hopefully be ready to go by September, but now I don't know what's happening with all of this. So
that's something that let me say this.
I'm going to cough through this whole thing.
Yeah,
sorry.
Jessa has a cold, not a coronavirus.
It's very wet.
And I keep saying this, when you get a TV show, if you get a TV show, because I know you might say no, but I want to be the go-between. For some reason, I always think I want to be the person that talks to the network and then goes back to you, so you don't have to deal with them.
I like it. That's nice.
Yeah, because I don't know why I dream of that, but that's what it'll be. So we are talking about Corona. Also, I had a weird weekend. So I was visiting my parents and I was supposed to come home on Tuesday. We're taping this on Saturday. And I had to get out of there because I thought they did quarantine it today. You and I have been everywhere. I was in Vegas. I was in Washington State. I was in New York. If we don't get it, then great. But I went and saw one of my favorite guys, and folks, Derek Condit, the Shungite guy. I got a reading from him up in Bellingham. It was amazing, and he was saying how the virus is a frequency, and that we should just try and keep yourself off that frequency.
Interesting. I don't know how to describe this sensation, but there is something that feels like memories, that they feel like memories from the future is the only way I know how to describe it. The sensation is that I've dreamt of the future, and there are several big things in my life. When I met the co-host of Mormon and the Meth Head, I told him about these dreams that I had. I dreamt about the windmills, the giant windmills. It feels like I dreamt about them when I was a kid. When they started going up, I was like, I remember these, right? Does that make sense? And he sent me a song from M83 called Outro at one point. And I was like, this song was playing in the dream of the windmills.
Wow. And I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second, because this is the other thing too. Because I had been warning people about February. I didn't know what it was. You had been warning people about February, but you also, on Mormon and the Meth Head, called the virus. I did
think there was going to be a plague, and here's the reason. Make sure I get back to the memories thing, because that's about this. I'm like, oh shit, I remember this virus. And it was something about activating our DNA. So I started getting downloads about the apocalyptic timeline was happening in people's dream, in the dream space, in the astral space. And so I talked on Soberish about wanting, like, if people were having apocalyptic dreams, to send them to me because I can interpret the dreams. And so I was doing a reading for someone, and there's just, when certain people tell me dreams, like, I can, like, in the dream, I can see it. And she said that the UN had a big fog machine on top of it, and this fog was, like, being used to stop the ascension. And, the collective consciousness from waking up. And she said we had to climb up there to get it. And she said she ended up having to breathe in the fog to get rid of it. And I knew when she said that the fog represented, like, fear and, like, but that there would, like, their virus. The virus was killing a ton of people. And I just knew it would be a virus. And then shortly after that, and it's the synchronicity of the way that things come in, that when it lines up with downloads, and I'm like, okay, here's the clues. And then Lola and I were hanging out, or we did WoW timelines, I think.
And folks, Lola is going to be on my podcast in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Hell yeah.
Baby Lola, yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, she's great.
So Lola and I did WoW timelines on Soberish.
And a WoW timeline is an
episode of Soberish.
Oh, got it. Oh, yes, I remember. Okay, sorry.
And way back in September, I think, and she talked about how there was, like, a 9/11 energy, astrologically maybe, in November and February. And the thing I could see for was the death of the masculine. I don't think I knew it was a death of the masculine energy, not men, but, like, the masculine energy, which is, like, the unconscious masculine energy is what, runs the entire way that this society is run, and that needed to die and collapse. The whole world is run like that. And so that the divine masculine energy can take over, and then, like, together with the divine feminine energy, we can have this new age.
Right. And, I had what she had. I had November passed, and I thought, maybe I'm wrong. And then I posted in January. I just went, fuck it. And I posted about, I never even swear on my podcast. And I posted about this, and it happened. I am worried also. She picked November. I picked November. I'm wondering if we were talking about next November. The one coming up.
Yikes. We did have weird energy in November. November was a weird energy. I think I knew that nothing in the 3D was going to happen. The stuff in the 3D is so up in the air. Mm-hmm. I saw that glitter dust, and when that glitter dust hit, so, like, from, and I think I talked about this on your podcast, that glitter dust from, like, Christmas time to mid-February, where, like, time got insane. To people, like, it was nuts. We were just, like, in an alternate reality for a while, and then that retrograde hit. And as soon as that retrograde hit, I could barely get to readings.
This last one, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I was so foggy. And you know what else? I had such a hard time with this retrograde. So we're talking this last one, which was probably
mid-February to end, like, March 10th. Yeah.
I had injuries. I mean, and I never get hurt. I do hot yoga. I ride my bike. I had a bad knee. I had a bad shoulder. I cut my thumb. Just this little thing that was, like, just ruining my life. Just a cut on my thumb that kept opening. And I was off. I've never been that affected by a retrograde. And I was in a fog all the time.
Yeah, I was like, in readings, there were just these big long silences, because I'm just like, how do I see in this? And then I talked to Lacey. Did Lacey do your podcast?
Lacey was on, yes, Lacey was supposed to be on this week. She was on last week, already getting a ton of emails. Everybody loves her.
Yeah, she's amazing. So Lacey and I finally got a chance to catch up, and she was like, it's sacred buffering. Everyone's buffering right now. Because everything, I can see, like, the trajectory in my mind of, like, the timeline that we're currently on. And we change timelines, so I don't claim to know the future, but, like, the timeline is, there is no timeline. Oh. In all of this retrograde, there was no timeline. I could see vaguely that whatever was happening is a huge, like a 90-degree turning point in September.
Wait, and one more thing backwards. So Lacey saying buffering is like we all stopped, and
we're all like,
okay, because I think the universe is trying to get us to slow down. So when you say September, you mean this one coming up or back?
Yeah, this one coming up.
This one coming up is going to take a 90-degree turn.
That's the only thing I can see is that it looks like a track in my mind, which is the calendar of the year. And when I get to September, it has a corner on it. That's all I can see. Well, that's all I can see till the end of the retrograde.
And we'll do it by the end. We'll do what we can match what we think is coming up this year and with the virus and stuff.
Because did I do a predictions? Did we ever get around to doing that?
We did not. We did not. But you and I on other podcasts had been talking about this a while ago.
Yeah, I know I came on and talked about the death of the masculine in December. So that's what this is, right? And they tried to, and this is the energy, and I don't know how much of like the reptilians trying to stop the awakening or the fear, like anybody trying to create fear. To be honest, that's not what it feels like to me.
No, it doesn't.
This feels very much out of their control to me.
This feels very human to me.
We collapsed a timeline. You got too many people woke up on the planet, raised their consciousness. You had everybody stare. Here's the thing. The only reason that the government and capitalism and everything and patriotism worked was because everyone believed it. And they were fed propaganda. And when I was a kid, everyone believed that this country was free. You had white people walking around talking about racism is over. We lived in this delusion about land of the free and the American dream and everything else. And so those structures were able to stay in place because the gods, the real gods, which are all of us, were pointing our perception at that as if it was truth. And they were behind the scenes, like hoarding money and like actually had us as batteries in the Matrix. But that ship has sailed. Everybody fucking woke up to at least the fact that this thing is rigged. The systems aren't fair. Racism sure as fuck isn't over.
Hollywood has been showing so much about aliens and stuff like
pedophiles,
that.
alien, like all of it. As everyone started to wake up, you have to understand that only exists as a reality because we are pointing our perception at it. And now, especially since the 5D download came in July and everybody is now tuned into energy exchanges, that thing has to collapse. And that's one thing that I've said on every fucking podcast I've ever been on, is when this ship goes down. Because I'm like, the government will just lose its power. Capitalism will cease to exist fast, like faster than you can imagine. So I don't know the actual coronavirus feels man-made to me.
Yeah,
but
it feels like the beginning to me.
Yeah.
Not the...
But this is happening in our best interest, and everybody just has to hold their shit together. Everything that we are about to lose, we didn't fucking like anyway. We didn't like it. We didn't like capitalism. We didn't like going to jobs that we hated. We didn't like paying our student loans. Let this fucker burn. Let it burn. Sit in your house, make art, write songs, think about a new world, how you want to run it, because they're losing their stronghold as we speak.
I love that. And that, folks, is why I want you to listen to her podcast about the tower when she goes into that more. It's on Soberish. And also, this is a weird side note, but everyone, if you want to see something awesome, watch Snowfall from FX. It's about how the CIA put cocaine in the 80s, and it's talk about your government screwing you over. It's amazing. It's an amazing show, and just a good one to watch if you're locked in, which I'm with you. This lock-in time or quarantine or whatever we're doing feels like everybody's just supposed to slow down and think about things. Think about who you are. Think about what you want. Because here's the thing. If we're going to get it, we're going to get it. If we're going to die, we're going to die. We could get hit by a car. I'm not, even when I say it's a frequency, I'm not claiming any, I'm going to escape it because I'm thinking positive, although I will do the best I can to do that. But I really feel like we're supposed to this is like a thought time. Like exactly what you said. Create art. Think about what you want the future to look like.
What's weird, because I thought this was going to be next year, but I've been talking about it a lot. I think I only talked about it on Patreon a couple weeks ago. Was one of the things that I saw. I was getting these like downloads about the sixth dimension. So the sixth dimension is like where we come together as one. And everybody brings their thing to the table. And we downloaded the sixth dimension because these dimensions are just like downloads, and then you integrate them, and then they're just like, it's a new packet in the game where you like, it's not a different place than here. It's just like now you have a different set of rules and a different set of abilities, whatever. So the sixth dimension's about your like us coming together in a way that is like symbiotic, because if everyone just did what made their heart sing, which is very difficult to figure out because you've been programmed to do so many things that you hate, and this thing would just run perfectly, right? So part of the 60 downloads that I was getting in the fall that I kept like starting to say on the podcast and then taking them back off because it just didn't feel like it was time yet. Part of those downloads were that at some point there will be a calculated strike. And this calculated strike would be everybody bring their powers to the table. And if you don't listen to Soberish, I talk about energies that aliens told me about, one of which is called the Arsenal, which they tear down the old systems. They're at work right now. And the next is the image setter. Image setters are artists. Every time an artist creates any piece of art, a movie, a book, a painting, a song, anything, they manifest reality with that. It's a very powerful gift. That's why the artists are so important. This is why somebody shared a Stephen King excerpt. I think it was Stephen King. There's a story where he talks about the Wuhan 400.
Oh, he got it earlier. He created it earlier.
He created it. And not like he created it, but like everything has been created in art, right? So this calculated strike where like the witches bind the parasites in a ritual on a certain, like the astrologers tell us the week that we should do it astrologically. The witches bind the parasites.
I love this.
The image setters create the art. The, what I call macros on the podcast are people who are able to like, I don't know, move the set around for other people. The manifestors do the cups. The whatever your magic power is, the healers do the healing, and we all together spend a week doing this calculated strike where we just change the set. I kept getting visions of a movie called Dark City. Do you remember that movie?
No.
It's a movie from the 90s, but these aliens would come in at night. I don't remember anything else about the movie except for that everyone would fall asleep at midnight, and then they would move them around and change their entire lives. And the vision I was getting out of that, the message I was getting out of that is that you have enough like higher dimensional beings awake on the planet that could do their thing, that they change what this life is like for the humans, And so I didn't think that was going to be until next year.
Yeah. Well, that fits right into the slow down right now.
Yes. Yes, I did think it was going to be March of 2021 for some reason. I didn't think there were enough of us ready. But I guess maybe it is this year. And so that is my advice. Spend all of your mental energy, feel your feelings, whatever. I guess more in the things that you're losing, but be honest with yourself. This is like when people spend 3 years in a toxic relationship wanting to get out of it. And then when it ends, they start writing fantasies about how great it was. And it was like, no, you wouldn't have wanted out. Remember that you didn't want out. We are going to lose things. We didn't want those things. And none of this shit's all made up. It's all made up. That's why they can stop it. It's all bullshit. None of this is universal facts.
Yep. Yeah.
So you can't pay your student loans. They'll just go away. Just think about a world where they just go away. What if they can't sustain? I think the entire system falls, or this entire thing blows over in 10 days. Those are my, there is a slight buzzing towards an apocalyptic nightmare, but I don't think we get there because we're too awake. Nope.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, there's a, it's funny because they had a bunch of articles about these women that, and they were women in New York just hated their husbands, hated them, just couldn't stand them, getting ready to get a divorce. 9/11 happens. And they died in 9/11, and all of a sudden the women were like grieving widows that couldn't believe it, like that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. There's so all right. There's so much here. All right, folks, hang on. We'll be right back. We all live busy lives. In fact, when I'm not podcasting, ghost hunting, performing stand-up comedy, or reading tarot for my clients, I'm trying to catch my breath and de-stress. All that on the go can really play havoc with your sleep and impact your health. That's why I'm so crazy about the relaxing benefits of CBD oil. But I care about what I put into my body, so I only look for the best. And that's how I found Zion Medicinals. The company was founded by Brian Caruso, who sought a natural pharmacy-grade solution for his wife's pain and insomnia. Zion Medicinals sources high-quality, healthcare-grade, premium hemp oil direct from an organic farm in Colorado, so you consistently get the best product every single time. The oils are full spectrum too, not CBD isolate, which means that every bottle contains all of the plant's naturally occurring compounds, including cannabinoids, flavonoids, and oils for a superior product. Every bottle is third-party tested to ensure it's pure and potent too. To get your Zen with Zion, check them out online at zionmedicinals.com. Tell them I sent you and use coupon code Karen20 for 20% off your first order. That's capital K, small AREN 20. Tell them Karen sent you. Okay, so when it comes to this virus, which I think, here's the thing that's interesting, and this is the facts stuff, but South Korea did it and shut it down. South Korea shut it down. It was unbelievable. They had drive-through testing everywhere. Everyone was getting tested. They were like rock stars in this whole thing.
So I've heard people say that testing stops it. How does testing stop it?
It doesn't really stop it, but you can, if you have it, you quarantine. You don't go anywhere. You stop.
Okay, got it.
So if they know who has it, we're in better shape.
Gotcha.
But they did the testing immediately, and it's almost amazing when you see the statistics, and then South Korea. So we blew it. Whatever. But I feel like, now I lost my place. I got all excited about South Korea, which isn't real.
Well, this is shining a big light on for-profit medicine, which you know is my
because we were
soapbox.
supposed to, World Health Organization was going to give us tests to do that, and Trump said no and handed it over to companies. Mm-hmm. So, and it is again one of those things where if you're going to get it, you're going to get it. If you're not, you're not. Well, just is the government going to subsidize toilet paper? That's the only question. Because everybody, I don't know what that's about.
It's really
weird.
Yeah, we're shining a light on a lot of this stuff, man. A lot of this stuff.
And also, yeah, like you said, I think this is what I feel like. I feel like mid-April, there's a shift. And the reason I'm thinking after a month of whatever this is supposed to be, whatever this shutdown is or whatever, people are going to lose their minds. You can't shut people in for a month. And then, I think that's when everything's going to change. This is mine. I haven't officially done this with my cards, but in what I've been sifting through in my mind, so I may do another one. And it goes into something you talked about the internet not being there. And I'll tell you. So I feel like August feels nice. Mm-hmm. Okay. Not that anything between there isn't, but I feel like August feels nice. September, I'm with you. There's a rumbling or something. I think November is the collapse.
Okay.
I think that election is going to be not the collapse, but the thing that turns it over. The thing that turns everything upside down.
I don't even feel like there's an election to me right now.
There may not be, and you may be right about that. That may be what starts it, but it's something about November that I think by your,
Here's the thing is that it was going to be Trump. It was going to be Trump for sure because that's where everyone had their perception pointed and they were just strengthening that timeline. Then everybody got pretty excited about Bernie and everyone. There was something where people were banding together and I was like, oh, they're actually kind of pulling us off this Trump timeline. And then
it went to Biden and I was like, what happened?
It's because it's rigged, because it's not a fair system. This is not a democracy. This is a corrupt system run by corporate overlords. And what happened when they did it is because everyone can see the energy exchange. Everyone's like, oh, this system's not fair. It doesn't matter. You're never going to stop fucking us over.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, because
Exactly.
that is the secret guy, that is the corporate whatever.
Somebody woke up and said it's Biden, and all of a sudden, all the votes changed.
Yeah. Because it's rigged. Because it's not it's an illusion. We don't live in a fucking democracy. We haven't in a really long time. And maybe never, but we are a corporate run elite. I don't like the word elite, parasite run country. And they're not that powerful. They're only powerful as long as we believe in their power.
Right.
But what happened was then all these gods that are starting to wake up. You're a god if you're listening to this right now, and you've been tricked into creating a reality for some piece of shit parasite. Everybody's starting to look at the parasites and they're like, wait a second. You guys are pedophiles. You guys are and you're fucking with the election. Like, we picked this person. I don't know.
And it's so interesting that you say that. It's almost interesting that people are hoarding toilet paper, because I know in dreams, anything having to do with the bathroom is about control. And people are hoarding this stuff and hoarding food because it's the only thing they feel like they can control in this virus. But it's really interesting to me in that I agree with you that I think Trump's whole thing was, and I think I've said this before, he's the wrecking ball. He's the one that's supposed to knock it down. He's supposed to start the collapse or be a big part of it. But I really think, I think Bernie's the real deal, and that's why they can't have him as president, even if that mattered. But I feel like something's wrong. I almost feel like Biden is, and I don't hate him. I'm sorry if you like him out there, but I feel like he's being programmed. Like, he looks programmed. Sometimes I look at him and his eyes are black. I'm not saying he's horrible or whatever, but when we get to this one with Derek Condit and he tells you what happened to him when he was a kid and with the military and stuff, you're going to get this. But he seems like a Band-Aid to the problem, first of all. Even if we get him in, it's the collapse.
No, he's like glitched out. I've assumed that was just dementia. But I was just saying to someone the other day, isn't it weird that Biden is like, the character is something different now? He also has experienced extreme trauma in his life, like extreme amounts of fucking trauma. His wife and kid died right after his first election. Then his other kid just fucking died.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's probably just like gone. And
that's also a lot of death in one family. Like, I'm a little curious. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe they could be targeted, but just seems odd. But yeah, glitched out is a great way to describe him. Like, he's programmed.
Yeah, it's almost hard for me to talk about the elites or the parasites or the Illuminati or anything right now with any type of like
respect.
They're losing. Like, they're losing. If you had any idea how fucking powerful you are right now, everything is falling apart. They are trying to stop the bleeding. They can't do anything. They can't create anything. All they can do is freak you the fuck out and try to get you to create it for them.
And a great example of that is, if you watch the news too long, you feel sick. You watch them talk about that coronavirus, all of a sudden you're coughing, you don't feel good, it's all there. Turn off the news, I'm fine.
Yeah.
That is a program.
I get into it on that Tower episode. I tell the story of me as an awake person falling asleep during the crash of 2008. I am watching it now and not like buying it at all. And it's interesting to watch them try to put martial law into effect. I think it's coming. That's why I'm getting the fuck out of LA. But
you also said something that appealed to me. You talk about when people are in and okay with the drama. Because here's what I find interesting. I lose my temper all the time. I can't stand waiting in line, anything like that. Today, I was almost in charge of the line. I was like keeping everybody calm when I'm waiting to get my groceries, right? And I was like, and I mean this in a weird way, I'm really good in a crisis. Like, I know how to take over in a crisis and go, no, just do that. Let that guy do his thing. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Yes. Trying to keep the shit together. Yeah. Just acknowledge we enjoy being a part of something. We enjoy when there's something to talk about. We enjoy when bad things happen. Well, you don't think you enjoy it, but you're excited for the story. Yeah.
Well, it was interesting because the lady standing behind me, who looked like it would have nothing to do with this stuff, I started talking about reading tarot cards and stuff, and she said, years ago, I went to see a psychic, and she told me about me and my husband, and she said one day we would only be communicating through energy. And she said, this was 30 years ago. I had no idea what she meant. And I think I know now. And I was like, interesting. Talk about somebody waking up.
Right.
Not even aware, not even into this stuff. And she's like, 30 years ago. Yeah, I think I get it now. That's interesting.
That is very interesting. There's a lot of cool restructuring, I think, that even if this is a 10-day blip that could happen, people working from home, I think that everyone should work from home. I think it's insane to have to go into an office full of other people's energy. Like, obviously, service work and stuff. Some people will have, like, regular jobs, but I think corporate jobs and everything should be from home. Like, it'd be such a happier fucking job.
Yeah.
If we're going to have that still.
And you had some cards. What were you reading? What were you pulling?
I was just pulling a few of these. I never remember what any of these decks are called. Soul's Journey. I got Loneliness and Regret.
Yeah. Is that must be what we're going through now? Or just...
Loneliness was the card that came out when you talked about that shift in April. And then Regret flew out later. Let me see if I can... I think we're really like standing right now at the starting screen, and we have the option to pick what timeline we're going on. I think take the next 2 weeks and dream up a utopia. Okay, so how would we do this? And then ignore the programming that's like, that's never going to work. Because like that same programming would have told you that they would never shut down March Madness, that they would never cancel St. Patrick's Day, that they would never do or
for somebody as old as me, that phones wouldn't be attached to the wall.
Right. Yeah. It's just everything only exists because we imagined it at some point, and then everything is up for grabs right now. Everything, and then the health card.
Interesting.
Everything is up for grabs right now. Take this time to like imagine anew, and if you do any type of art, create it in art. If you want to know how to manifest.
And by art, you mean writing and everything, whatever it is.
Anything.
Whatever it is you do. Which is, that's interesting because also in this country we hate, like, there's nothing. They're always trying to cut the funding to the arts.
Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are. Because it's magic.
This is an interesting deck. Which, by the way, did I tell everyone that my tarot class is done?
I don't think you did. I thought that was going to be an announcement you did at the beginning.
No, it'll be up online when people can order it, and I'll do an ad for myself on my own podcast. So excited! This is a great deck.
Yeah, these are, I prefer oracle cards to. I use tarot, but these are great clarifiers.
Yeah.
But since a lot of the energy I'm picking up on is like mental blocks and stuff, so. Yeah, Soul's Journey gives you a ton of, they're called lesson cards, but it's got like adversity, friendship, patience, health, regret. It's like themes, life themes.
Which by the way, they've been on. They've been so on.
Yeah.
Loneliness for April, when I said I think people are going to have to get out of the house. They're going to be like, screw it. Regret is interesting.
Yeah, I know I cannot change the past. So this was like something that I did a reading on Patreon last night. And a lot of people are from a macro standpoint or from a micro standpoint. So macro is like big picture, higher dimensional, like all of us, whatever. Your highest good. And then micro is like the actual avatar's experience. from a micro experience, a lot of people are experiencing tower moments in their individual lives.
Right.
For things that they put into place in like January or whatever. So like maybe you wanted out of that job, that relationship that wasn't working, you wanted away from a narcissistic parent, you whatever, and now you're actually losing those things.
You know what? In spades. And people are not understanding when the universe hears something, it's not always going to be how you picture it. And,
it's always chaos.
You know, I read for this lady that didn't understand. She did an ayahuasca trip and she didn't understand because she did it in a foreign country, and she wanted to learn to speak up for herself. And she hated it after like the second day, and they were forcing her and telling her how weak she was. And she said, "Karen, I ran away. What the heck was all that about?" And I was like, "You just stood up for yourself.
Yeah, you asked the universe for an opportunity.
And there it was. And you did it." And she was like, "Oh." But people are, whether it's they're losing jobs or meeting people, or I want to meet the soulmate that I want to end up with, that person might be married right now. Like it's all, our everything. And it's very interesting because I think we have also been formulated by a set of morals and codes that are from the people keeping us in line.
Yep.
So everybody has to, you know what I mean? It's all over the map. This year for me is off the charts, not in my personal life, but in what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing and readings and everything. Like it's like nothing I would have ever imagined.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of people, obviously they're not going to be in this energy right now, but there's a lot of people struggling with like, I'm stuck. This was the energy that like since from November to March. And it's like, you're not stuck. Think about who you were in April of 2019 and how many deaths and rebirths you've experienced. Just between April and July, you probably had a massive transformation of who you are. That's work. I know boomers that have been the same person since they were 25 years old. They might be more productive in the third dimension where they're like fit, like what, making money or something, but like they're the exact same person. They still have the same character defects. They still have the same fears running their lives. They still have the same shitty fucking behaviors. You are completely changing as a person. Odds are, if you're listening to this podcast, you are completely transforming fundamentally who you are into something more powerful.
And it's hard.
And it's a full-time job. And that is the work. Like you're getting a lot done. I don't think that's the energy people are going to be in for the next month, but like you're getting ready for a world that isn't here yet. Don't stress on the fact that you haven't been productive in a world that's dying. Who gives a fuck? It's a dying medium, Earth, the third dimension,
You know what else it seems to me? This is very odd, but like all of a sudden there's ads for Facebook on TV. And I was like, why does Facebook need ads? And this little lockdown is going to drive people to the internet. Yeah. And so they're driving them back into that social media mess where everybody's fighting. You know what I mean? So folks, be sure that you use your time. Another great way to use your time is to do the Marie Kondo thing and just get rid of what you don't need. Clean out closets, throw it away. If you haven't worn, just clean everything out. But what you're talking about, we're dying. It's like sometimes.
Well, who are they? They gotta be, they're turning it into a boomer site, I guess, because who the fuck is watching television?
I don't know. But I was so odd. I watch
Who's
online.
watching ads?
What did I have online? No, it was, maybe it was Snowfall, which I cannot say enough good things about that show. There's something that, at my parents', that's why I had TV on.
Okay, I was going to say, you don't have TV.
Yeah, I don't have TV. But also, I think it was coming up on, like, stuff I download or on YouTube. But I was like, why are they putting up ads? And I think the Rocky was in it, and Chris Rock was in it. It's crazy. And I don't know what that's about, but I feel like they if they can drive us back into that mess, like how popular that was at the time, they've got us all distracted.
Nah, man. Every podcaster I know is going hard on content. As soon as I get my kids out of LA, we're going to be...
Right. So people stay away from stay away from like just getting in the, like, think of what you were saying, make art, clean your house, clean out your life, think about what you want.
Get together with people, like-minded people, hang out in the Discord server, in the secret Facebook groups. I feel like most people...
I think we moved so far away from that this is part of them trying to numb us out and start arguments.
The thing that is funny is that, like, you have to come up with new shit, which is another reason that I thought it was going to be it would have to be a plague, because, like, everyone's, the mass shootings were all fucking desensitized to, the terrorism were desensitized to. It's like they've done all the stuff. And so it would kind of have to be a plague. And I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. The sickness, it feels man-made, but it feels like it's already gotten away from them. So it was either supposed to take a bunch of us out.
I think it slipped out. I think that it was already made and that it slipped out. Somebody let it out or walked out of the lab with it. Somehow.
I feel like they purposefully put it out, but I feel like it was supposed to do something different than it did. And I think it's gonna backfire on them. It's just gonna collapse their shit. Yeah.
Now, I interrupted you in the beginning when you were talking about memories. Oh, wait, hold on. We'll come back to that. We'll come back with when you were talking about remembering things from the future.
Yes.
And also, and then we'll narrow that down, because people on face keep asking me, so when is this going to end? Which it's like, I think we're going to have to lean in, maybe live in interesting times. Psychic medium and buddy of mine, Terry Huberman, is with me today. Terry, you've given me so many great readings and healings, and now you've got everything together in one package. Tell me about that.
I sure do. So this package has energy healings, readings, and coaching.
Coaching, that's the best. And people, they buy the package. You give them coaching once a week?
Yeah, so we meet online once a week, and in between there's support as well.
And who would this be for?
This is really for folks who are in indecision, needing to get into their intuition because they're blocked or stuck. They need to move forward. And so we explore what the root causes of the problems are.
And helps them get out of their own way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Terrific. And what can they expect from this?
Sure. So moving from anxiousness to confidence, accessing their freedom, joy, and security, and really being in alignment with themselves so they have that clear direction, so they know, this is what I need to do next to reach my goals.
So now there's something that's free so people can talk to you and see if this is for them.
Yeah, absolutely. On my website, terryhuberman.com, there is a page where you can click, and it's the intuitive coaching package. And there is a button there that says schedule a free call. So you go ahead, schedule it. We'll get on a call and you can learn more about this program, and we'll see if this is a good fit for you or not.
See if there's chemistry.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's an odd date.
TerryHuberman.com, TerryHuberman. I highly recommend it, folks. All right, we're back. Okay, so you were talking about remembering things from the future.
Yeah, so for years I was like, I wrote, as soon as those windmills went up, I was like, I remember those windmills. And then in January of 2018, I remember driving across the country and jokingly saying to the co-host of Morbid and the Meth Head, I think we are driving into 5D is what I said, which is crazy because that was literally the entire premise of our time together. But he had sent me a song like a month before. I was like, send me some music. And he had sent me Outro by M83. And as soon as I played that song, I was like, this is the song from the dream about the windmills. And it just like, it made the windmills pop up. And I had never seen the field of windmills from the dream before.
In Palm Springs.
Until he and I are driving across the country. And then we start driving through and I'm like, oh my God, that dream was like a time marker. And now I'm here. And so this happens a lot now. And the last couple of days, I was out on a hell tour, like fucking, of course, I have a tour in Washington the week that this shit hits the fan. And I'm trying to get these shows done. And I only could do 2 of them and then had to come home. And I'm also like, I have a cold. I know it's a cold. It's a wet thing. It's not whatever.
It is
but
whatever.
not the best time to be on an airplane coughing.
Right.
You know what I
People
mean?
get freaked out.
Yeah. But there's something about all of the buzz around this and the sickness as this is happening where I am I'm like remembering it. And I'm like, so there's a DNA thing that happens. There's a shift in our DNA that changes the reality that we're in. I don't know anything. I've heard words like extraterrestrial 12-strand DNA.
That's so weird. I just had Ancient Aliens on, which I never watched, but I needed noise that wasn't moved, and they were talking about a drink like an Andromeda that restructured your DNA.
Yeah.
Like, literally, these are the synchronicities that are making me crazy. Almost exactly what you're saying.
Okay, so I know, but it's like a buzz thing I hear around, but it's never anything. When I try to look into shit before I have gotten the download or before the synchronicities have like told me something, I don't understand it. It's just like wah, 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 wah. Like I love talking to people like Ramin Nazer and Mark and all these guys who like collect Owen. They collect information. I'm just talking like this is my podcast. You guys, we have the same fans, right?
I think we do,
because they have all this information, but like I just like I hear it and it doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't stick in my brain until I get it. But I've heard stuff about like our DNA shifts from 2-strand to 12-strand, and this changes our bodies and everything else. And there was something today where I was remembering a conversation about, because I was like, okay, how does this us being locked in the house for a few weeks completely change the reality? And then I was like, oh no, I was thinking about the respiratory thing with our bodies. And I was talking to Lacey, who I got to get on. I got to find a way to do a phone podcast. And she was saying that lungs are where we store our grief. And anyway, I was thinking from there. And then I don't know why I remember having a conversation about how like everyone has corona. Everyone ends up getting corona. Corona means crown also. Which is this big fucking activation. Right. Crown chakra is where all these downloads are coming in. And that the unintended consequence of it is that there's something about this virus as it's working its way through your body that activates the 12-strand DNA activation. The 12-strand DNA hits, it's fucking over, folks. Once our bodies become regenerative and we are not going to get sick or die anymore, you're kind of fucked. So I'm not saying that that's going to happen.
What I heard on the TV an hour ago.
Are you serious?
It was about a guy that created this thing about being immortal. It's unbelievable because I've never watched this show. I've never heard that. And it's exactly what you're saying. And I thought he said it was, and I can't remember the name, ambrosia. I can't remember the name of the drink. Somebody that watches that show, email me, because it was about moving backwards. It would move your DNA backwards. I've always thought this is like a weird fear / something that I don't remember. I don't think I've had a near-death experience. And I know sometimes when you have those, you get that jacked up, you get that changed energy. And I think that could be happening to a lot of people with this flu.
Oh, shit.
If they get it and they don't realize, because one of the books I'm reading that's about the Orion Council, this girl channels the Orion Council. They said a good time to channel is when you don't feel well because you're trying to get out of your body anyways.
Oh, shit.
I know. Interesting?
Huh.
All right, so I interrupted you 500 times. So the song so you were saying...
Because there's something in the blood. There is a song called... I get all my messages from shit like this. There's a song by Paul Oakenfold from when I first woke up called Game Master, I think. I think it's... I end up quoting it wrong all the time. And in that song... it says something about the core mystery of the blood.
That's interesting.
Hold on, lyrics. Sorry, your sound guy is gonna have to take this out.
I'll just chit chat through it because I don't edit.
All right. Embracing the goddess energy within yourselves will bring all of you to a new understanding and value of life. A vision that inspires you to live and love on planet Earth. Like a priceless jewel buried in dark layers of soil and stone, Earth radiates her brilliant beauty into the caverns of space and time. Perhaps you are aware of those who watch over your home and experience it as a place to visit and play with reality. You are becoming aware of yourself as a game master. Imagine Earth restored to her regal beauty. Stately trees seem to brush the deep blue sky. Clouds billow to form majestic peaks. The songs of birds fill the air, creating symphony upon symphony. The goddess is calling for an honoring of what she allows to be created from the core mystery of the blood. Those who own her planet are learning about love. Look at the goosebumps I get.
Wow, you know what? That's the other thing is people want kind of say maybe it's not exactly direct that Gaia was created because that the virus was created because of this, but I think the Earth is kind of mad. Like people get.
She's not fucking around. Yeah,
your
she's
vibrations
healing.
Are terrible.
Yeah, she's healing, and she's just not. It's. The vibration is raising, and part of the vibration raising is that it is
also making aware of the negativity. Yeah. It's like birth.
It's purging.
Like you were saying another thing. It's like birth. Talk about purging. That was the other thing you talked about, which was you said every once in a while you get sick and purge. I had that happen this year. I haven't thrown up in 30 years.
I think it was what happened to you that made me like, do I get the stomach flu, or is that just... Because almost always when I get the stomach flu, it's like a 24-hour thing when no one else gets it,
And there's no other side effects except you're tired for a day and you got to rehydrate.
And it's, I tell the story of like manifesting a new house. And I had to go through so much loss to get there because as soon as my timeline started collapsing, I bought into it and started freaking out, which when you're creating a new timeline, you collapse the old one. You have to not then try to hold on to the old one because you'll get hurt.
You know what else is weird? Every time, like last time when that recession hit, I had an uncle die and he left me a really small, just little inheritance, just enough to patch me through that. And then what's weird is this time that it looks like we're headed for a recession, all of a sudden this last month, CD sales from 3 years ago are off the charts. My dry bar special is making money. Like I'm getting checks from everything all of a sudden. And I'm almost like, I'm not freaked every time we go into this. Like some sort of cushion shows up for me.
Yeah. So Lola definitely called the recession like a motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Every like psychic intuitive that I saw was talking about the recession, but they were all talking about save your money. Just didn't resonate with me. My understanding of money is flow, and I don't know. I try to hold on to it, and then the universe is like, do you want your car to break down?
Right, and that is, and you know what? Too, this had a bubble, had a pop, whatever it is. But you know what? I don't know. I don't think people were doing as great as the news and the quote unquote economy wants us to think.
No, I think money's fake, and I think it doesn't exist, and I think that we don't have to suffer through. I think it's going to go away. It might not go away right now. This might be the warning shot before the actual collapse, but these systems are going to collapse.
You know, it's interesting. Someone told me today, and I'm not positive on this, but someone told me in South Korea they burned all their money because it had the germs on it. So they had to get new money and burn it, which is a very interesting thing right now for the people that did great with the virus. They burnt their money.
Yeah. Interesting. That is very interesting.
All right. So recession coming up. Do we have any idea or any, like I said, I think November is the big kick. I think November is what we need to.
Yeah, the trajectory for me is still pretty foggy because we've got 3 scenarios. So there's one scenario where in 10 days this fizzles out. And the economy still doesn't, the recession really doesn't feel, it kind of forces, what it looks like right now is that it forces them to be like, everyone pretend like the last 2 months didn't happen. Because if everyone does that back to the credit card companies and everything else, we might be able to save it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But
or if the government starts sending checks, like someone was saying, just send people checks right now.
Yeah, they were doing. Remember, they did the stimulus stuff. I don't know. It doesn't. The recession just doesn't feel. It just doesn't have to go down like that. I'm not saying be super positive and try to hold on to things that we've had. I say let the motherfucker burn.
I know. I agree. We're holding on to so many things that we don't need.
Yeah, just imagine a world where we just took care of each other and everybody did what made them happy. Capitalism's not real. It's not. It doesn't have to be like, this isn't like a natural way of living for us. Like, we could live tribally with technology, with all of the internet and the things that we have. Fuck these guys, man. Fuck these guys. Fuck medicine for money. Fuck all of that. We don't need it. Fuck. What if we did activate the DNA and nobody got sick anymore? And then...
that is what interesting.
That would collapse.
That's what they're talking about. This coronavirus is going to collapse our medical system. Well, then it wasn't very well built, was it? Wasn't working.
Yeah, it shouldn't be for profit. It's insane. It's literally insane. So I would like to overthrow the government. And by the government, I mean the corporate oligarchy. I can't say that word.
You mean have votes really matter? And people really have say? Or not?
I don't know. What do we need bosses for? We don't even need it. Like, let's just build small communities in America with resident people. I think we're all going. I think everybody from Soberish is going to meet up in Arizona and just start our own shit. Yeah. When I was on drugs, I was obsessed with the idea of sovereignty, and I think I want to look back into it. I think there is a way to like opt out of everything. You don't get anything from them, but like they're not giving us anything anyway, and you don't have to pay taxes. And I want to look back into that again because it was like all I fucking thought about before I.
That is something also where you're like me. Like, we live pretty minimal. We don't need a lot of shit.
Yeah.
In fact, the less crowded my visual state of my house is, the better.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting thing. I think we're both. I had a very little sleep, and you're sick, so we keep like drifting off in the middle of this. But it makes good sense. There was something I was gonna. I can't remember now. All right. Well, we only have like 6 minutes left, anyways. So, I know what I was gonna say. So for anybody that listens to this, I started a podcast a long time ago about the dark web, and I didn't get to finish it, and this year has been the best guests ever. Like, just the best. I've been so lucky with all these people talking about the dark net, not as a place where people get scammed, but other people call it the freedom net because there's nobody watching, there's no Google, there's no nothing. And I think that if something were to happen, that's what you want your people to know. How to get on the dark net.
Okay.
It's not, it's not a place to go look and you could get in a lot of trouble. But I'm going to do a thing on that and talk about that. And actually then I will do my cards and see if I can narrow down more predictions about what's coming. But if folks could just not worry.
Yeah. If the shit hits the fan and the internet goes down, I'm telling everyone just to meet in Sedona. We'll all find each other there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I love that. And you know what, too? That thing where you were talking about people taking care of each other. Mm-hmm. Like, that seems to be some of what's going on. Yeah, people are hoarding food, but you know what? My neighbors and I are all like, yeah, you're all right. All right, call me if you need anything.
I've seen people on Twitter that are like, I have $1,000. Everybody give me your Venmo. I'll send you some money for groceries. The Soberish group had everybody doing like I talked to a comedian who's doing well. I think content creation is going to do well while we're in this lockdown. Everyone's Patreon's probably going to be hopping, YouTube lives and stuff. And,
look for entertainment or things that are going to expand your mind rather than things that are the same clouded stuff.
Yeah.
So, always awesome to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Tell everybody, I'm sure all my fans know where you are, but tell them Soberish is the podcast.
Soberish is the podcast. Jessa Reed Comedy on Twitter and Instagram. Patreon is patreon.com/Jessa Reed. I do readings. I do live videos once a week. I do 2 bonus episodes there if you're already caught up on Soberish. And I do
look
readings.
for your show that's coming out. It's just going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a minute. But yeah. And yeah, I think all my shows got canceled. I'm allegedly at Go Bananas the first week of April, but I feel like that's probably not going to happen.
That feels close.
Yeah.
But you know what's the best thing? All my gigs that are getting canceled, they're just giving me a later date.
Yeah, I don't think, that part will be fine.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. I hope that helped you out. Like I said, my tarot class is coming. You'll hear an ad for that. Hang tight. Check out, I'm lost now. I'm so tired. I'm at Rontowski on Instagram. Go to karenrontowski.com. I'm putting up my new website soon. That's it. Keep listening. Give me 5 stars wherever you do, folks. Have a great day, evening, whatever the heck's going on. See you next week. Thanks to Mike at Uno Rising Media.